that time of week once more for Muji and Dan to give you the comic store. It's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Welcome to Get Your Pulls, number 103 with Muji.
And Dan.
And Todd.
And there's Jeremy over here.
There's Jeremy, who's here despite the fact that he might miss a bit of his show.
True. That's how much I love this.
Missing the story.
Well, I'd probably be missing Walking Dead on its first airing, but that's what he's watching tonight, too. And we all know there's a replay at 11 p.m., so it's all good.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Walking Dead, the only show that so many people watch that the fucking replay is also one of the highest rated shows.
Been fantastic. Oh, hell, we can go ahead and start talking about that. Pretty big news on the last few episodes. I really love, a spoiler if you're not following it, but they're up to the community in Virginia, Alexandria, and been pretty spot on with the comics this season, which has been kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's been cool, and it has been quite accurate.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to see that, that Rick is still sort of the hardcore badass that we imagine him to be. Because I thought for a minute, not reading the comics and things, that it was like, oh, is he kind of getting soft on us a little
He's
bit?
going soft.
Nope.
Not at all. And it was the death of a family member of The Walking Dead for the last couple of seasons. As things have gotten crazy, they've been out on their own and gotten more feral. Rick had grown this massive mountain man beard. And true to the comics, as when they arrive in Alexandria, one of the first things he does is shave the beard.
Yep.
And there was a big moment. It was actually a bigger moment on the show than it was in the books. They made somewhat of a deal about it in the books, but on the show, it was like this whole story arc. It was what I found pretty interesting.
Yeah, and the comics, it's just like, you shaved your beard? He's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I get it. That's it.
I think the way Andrew Lincoln really sold it was like he was kind of losing a part of himself, and he has been really phenomenal this season. A lot of people have bitched about him being one of the weak points of the show in terms of acting, but I think he's really taken Rick to a new level, into what you eventually see in the comics, where it's just this grizzled veteran of this apocalyptic scenario who's able to survive by any means necessary.
He's definitely got that squirrely look about him now. He looks like he's been missing a few meals, too.
Yeah. So that's been fantastic, and really looking forward to tonight's episode and what they do, because I have a feeling it's interesting that they're getting pretty, like Game of Thrones has bitched that, they're going to possibly catch up with what's going on in the books and may have to go on George Martin's
season.
Cliff Notes.
Could be the last
The outline
season.
says we're supposed to do this now, so might as well.
That's Walking Dead, and I don't know that they're going to run into that problem, but they're pretty close to where they are. And they really flew through the time where they left Atlanta and went to Virginia. Like in the books, that drug out for a really long time, and in the show, they got there pretty quick. So I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yeah, because really, once they leave Virginia, they've got like a season worth of stuff. So.
Yeah, and if Negan shows up at any point, which they've teased already the last couple of seasons, there's a good possibility that they're jumping way ahead. So I don't know, but it's prompted and ready to be interesting. I know that much.
It might be an opportunity for both of those shows, like Game of Thrones, to break free of what's in the books, because there's a chance that Game of Thrones could go in a different direction. I mean, based off of what he's already written and told them that's going to happen, he might decide, well, fuck all that. I'm going to write a different ending to my book, and that's going to be the gospel from then on. So
I really hope
that's
they
kind
do,
of an interesting
because
thing.
I want to experience the nerd rage.
Yeah, those fuckers changed it.
Oh, they changed that. It'll be worse than George Lucas. I've had my own nerd rage about that. We actually, me and Jay had a conversation bitching about the Star Wars prequels before y'all even got here tonight. So
instead of stealing your childhood, it'll be like, you stole my young adult years, George R. R. Martin.
You stole my early 30s. But they also announced that Supergirl is greenlit. We got the first look at Supergirl's costume on CBS. The actress is Melissa Benoist, coming from Glee fame. Is a very attractive young lady. I thought that they kind of planed her up a little in the Supergirl pictures. I don't know if that was intentional or if it was just bad lighting, but I thought the costume was awesome, and it looks like it's got potential.
They went kind of just original design. I mean, the S is a little different, looks darker, but overall, it's just Supergirl's costume. It's kind of nice to see.
Yeah, it looked really good.
It looks really cool.
The information I saw, I think Colleen Atwood is the one that designed it. She did the costume for Flash and for Arrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep that same creative team on board. I mean, it is a Kreetzberg and who's the other guy? The other guy that produces Arrow.
He's second in the rotation. You always forget the guy's name when it's by two guys.
Yeah, always. I can get one of them, but never two. Fuck. He wrote great fucking comics a couple of times. I can't remember his name. But anyway, the two guys that are in charge of Arrow and the Flash are also in charge of the Supergirl show, which will be premiering on CBS this fall. Interesting to note, they have cast Superman in the Supergirl show.
I did not.
I don't know what they're going to do. I kind of wonder if he's just going to kind of be like an off-screen presence.
Is it Berlanti?
Greg Berlanti, yes.
I hadn't Googled it yet. I came up with it just in time.
It's kind of weird. I mean, how can you have a Supergirl without Superman first? But, I mean, maybe they'll shoehorn it in there some way where...
Well, I mean, like, clearly he's there and has been around as part of the story. And, like, some of the script has leaked in terms of what they were reading in the test footage. And Superman's definitely there. They're definitely casting him. I don't think that he's going to be like I don't know that we'll actually see his face. You know, I kind of see it be like more of like a figure that she goes to for advice and shit. And you don't necessarily, because it's not about him. Sure. And if he's there doing superheroics, it's going to take away from her, in my opinion.
Change the name of the show.
So you can't have Superman involved saving the day if it's about Supergirl. You can have him there as a mentor and as a guide and someone that she can go to try to understand her stranger in a strange land vibe. But I don't think he needs to be on the show full time. But awesome that they're including him. Yeah. I'm really stoked about that.
And it's the same like universe as the Arrowverse and the Flash show. So that maybe Superman's been around. They just haven't heard about him in Starling City, Central City yet.
Well, you know, if you go with the Man of Steel story, he could have been off in hiding and just kind of been a myth.
You know? We've got our own stuff going on here.
So that's a possibility. Avengers Age of Ultron trailer came out. The third, I guess it's the third item. I think it's the second actual trailer. Yeah. And then the first one was just a little bit of a teaser, and then you got the full trailer. I probably won't watch another one after this because I don't trust the people that make trailers. They're not good enough to put the trailers together and not spoil important parts of the movie. The first Avengers, I was talking to my buddy Andy about this yesterday. You know, it's like the first Avengers trailer. They spoiled the fucking giant worm that was coming. They spoiled so many of the good jokes in the trailers, like the one-liners, you know, and it was just like, God damn, you don't have to do that.
Does it make me a bad person that when I get to the movie theater, when people laugh at the jokes from the trailers, like I automatically despise them? When people laugh really loud at the jokes that you know they've already heard 20 times, I always want to punch them.
Maybe they're not watching the trailers. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Maybe they're on full trailer blackout.
That would be a great move if you could do it. That would be great.
That's the main problem with comedy trailers because usually you get every funny joke and then you go see the movie and it's like, why did I do this?
Why did I even waste my time? We do have a fifth man in the house tonight. Our buddy Chit Martinez, former professional wrestler, my cousin Chad Shipley. He's just hanging out here. He's a comic fan, but is not a hardcore like we are as far as collecting weekly. But if he's got something to throw in on any given topic, he's welcome to. He's not a
no for now.
He's not a superhero, but he did survive being shot once, so that says something.
More super than I'm ever going to be.
Stand bullets.
But I think that about wraps up the news. Do we have anything else we wanted to talk about?
Don't forget about Norman Lee.
Oh
Uncanny.
shit! Yeah, really sad news to hear. The inkers many times are the unheralded heroes of the comic book industry, but so you probably enjoyed this guy's work and never really noticed. But he was one of the inkers on All New X-Men and Uncanny X-Men and some of the recent Spider-Man stuff. He was a guy, full-time employee for Marvel. Recently out in the Grand Cayman Islands scuba diving and got lost from his party, and apparently the latest news is they've called off the search for the body. So that's
absolutely nuts. He's
Yeah.
somebody that's like kind of in our life, but we just maybe grazed over his name. Like,
Yeah.
I read a lot of his books.
Yeah.
I'm just not
Unsung hero, I guess.
aware of it.
that's really sad, man. Our thoughts are definitely with the family and everybody here all from Getchyapulls, because the comics say we wouldn't be dedicating an hour of our lives every time we come on here to comics if they didn't have a tremendous impact on our lives, and that's every fine detail down to the inkers, the artists, the writers, everybody involved.
And one thing about Gotham that leaked was Jada Pinkett Smith says she's not returning for the second season. That's pretty huge because she's like a fan favorite character.
Well, then she must be gonna die.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think is that like she would obviously be back if there was a reason to have her back. So she's probably gonna be dead.
Spoilers, yeah. I mean, we all got spoiled on that.
And that's what the fucking internet's good for. God damn it. Don't subscribe to any fucking comic page if you don't want the next events of the next 6 months
They'll go on
spoiled.
Twitter. They'll go on
We'll
Facebook.
read about it.
I mean, it's unavoidable, honestly. If you, especially in our medium, where part of our job here is to cover the news that occurs in comics, you're not going to fucking miss it when you're scrolling through the comic book resources feed trying to pick up articles. You're going to get spoiled, You're going to go, so-and-so's going to die next month. Well, fucking great. I would have rather just read that in the comic.
And my bathroom time is ruined.
So that's that. And I do believe that will wrap up the news for this week.
Yay.
So moving along to the polls. Starting off with the great Muji.
Had so many good ones, even though I don't have that many books. There were so many really awesome ones this week. Justice League continues to be badass. It's almost kind of underrated at this point because every week it's really, really, really good. Or every month.
It doesn't get a lot of the hype that Batman gets, and it really has some of the similar, like, slow burn story mechanics.
Like the Luthor Batman, or the Luthor Bruce Wayne, like Clark Kent thing's been going on for like 20 issues now, and you're waiting at some point for Luthor to just go crazy bad. It hasn't happened yet, but you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely getting Jeff Johns at his best on this book.
And you got Jason Fabok on the art,
Yeah,
who's
that's
becoming
what really
like
appealed
a
to me,
really
yeah.
awesome. Like as we speak, like he did great. Like on the first, he was on the first few Eternals. He's done some Batman, and now he's doing this.
Yeah.
He's really good.
It's a real up and comer.
I guess that
Good.
Criminal One Shot, awesome. Didn't even know it was coming out. Came to the comic store,
Nice.
and it's a great story. It's a bit of a prequel from what we've seen from the characters involved in it, but it's really awesome. What Brubaker did was it's like there's a comic within a comic. Part of it is just a tribute for his love to what was the old comics? They're like Conan, but they were like they look like Conan. Like this is the art in it.
Yeah.
They did their own version of the Savage Sword of Someone. It's an old Marvel comic from back in the day. But it's
Sounds
basically
familiar.
it's tribute
I
to
don't
that. It might have been of Conan.
Yeah, it was. Those were Conan comics. I was about to say,
Yeah,
man,
it's just got a weird name. But obviously, he did one. It's a fake one, but it's
It's a cool style they
yeah.
got going.
basically the whole story here is that we've got one of our previous heroes from Criminal is in jail, and the whole story he's just trying to read this whole comic.
Yeah.
He just keeps going back, but people keep trying to murder him. So he'll read a few pages of it. You'll get a few pages of
Oh, that's cool.
the story, and then it goes back to him trying not to get murdered, and then a few more of the story.
Has that old faded black and white newsprint look to it.
Exactly, and it's just some criminals. If you like Criminal, they need to get it. It's really awesome. And I saw they did like a magazine, like an oversized issue of this with the cover of that of the comic that they wrote within the comic on it. So it looks like the old ass. Like if you've seen those old ass Conan comics, they're like gigantic, like magazine size. So
Yeah.
they're like that. So that's pretty cool. And then, just really briefly, Batman 39 was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about it in more depth later because I'm just going to go my pick of the week is Descender, number 1 from Lemire, Dustin Nguyen. Of course, you know who Lemire is. Dustin Nguyen, probably most famous. He's done some Batman stuff, but most famous for doing the Little Gotham. You know, he did all those covers of the different DC comics with basically the guys who look like bobbleheads, and he did the Little Gotham, and that was pretty popular.
He's one of those artists, like, he can do different books, and it looks a little different depending on what book he's drawing.
Oh yeah, it's really awesome. Here's just some of the, and it reads like a movie. It's badass, which you can kind of see why this has already been picked up for like film. You've got like the whole opening. Basically, the opening scene is of this world, this very advanced civilization getting destroyed. Then we get to the great, awesome title page. It looks like you're watching like a just a movie. And then, much like some of Lemire's best work, then we have this little robot guy wakes up and finds out, oops, he's the only one left on the planet. And he goes searching for other people. So it's really good.
Just like Will Forte.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That was a great damn film.
That was pretty good. I ain't gotta say.
Expecting much from it, and I just sat there and laughed my ass off the whole time.
I think it's really good. The art's really good. And it's Lemire doing what his best work is, which is usually just a solo book about some sort of outcast.
He always excels in that. Like I've never. Every time I try to give him a chance on a team book, I'm always disappointed. His superhero work is hit and miss. He was great on on Arrow, and I'm sure he's going to be good on Hawkeye. But he really shines in those independent books. That is his strong point. Underwater Welder was one of the best things I'd read in a long time.
It's great. I didn't love Trillium. It wasn't bad. I didn't like it as much as his other stuff. But all his creator-owned stuff that I've read, I've liked all of it. So.
Rock on.
Nice. All right. It's on to me. Start with the Spider-Verse of comics. The last, or the epilogue to Spider-Verse, just kind of tied everything up in a neat little bow. I mean, they didn't leave too many threads dangling. They shunted some superfluous Spider-Women off into different universes. Spider-Gwen got back home. You have Aranya, is that how you pronounce it? The other Spider-Girl, she went off to do her own thing in a different alternate universe. So they kind of slimmed down the Spider-Cast a little bit. Thankfully so, because there were way too many Spider-Men in the 616. And, it was a satisfying epilogue.
What do you think about the Doc Ock?
Doc
Crazy there.
Yeah, he kind of, he finally realized that he wouldn't survive his run as the superior Spider-Man. Kind of, as a last-ditch effort, tried to, save himself. But then he gets just pushed into the portal by Peter Parker at the last minute. It was pretty satisfying. I mean, I like the character. I'm sure he'll show up in some form down the line, but it was time for him to step off center stage there. Spider-Gwen #1 came out, and it was pretty fabulous. I mean, it's a real lighthearted take. She's in her own universe. And the coloring's all like neon, Lisa Frank looking colors. But it was really satisfying. I was impressed.
Justin Latour's good.
Silk #1 came out, and I read that. Are you covering that? Or? It was okay. I mean, I don't know if I'll add it to the list, but I'm just surprised that this many Spider-Women comics can come out at the same time and still,
And yes, and Sony letting Marvel have a bigger cut of Spider-Man. Coincidence?
Yeah,
obviously no.
Let's start churning these Spider ladies out.
Now there's 18. Now there's 18 people in Spider-Man suits, and they're subtracting X-Men.
Yeah.
So Quicksilver, you got to do that. So which you got to do that. That's how it's going.
That was what was part of that.
One pile and put it in the other.
That Uncanny Avengers #1 of the reboot that I hated was like most of it was about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch like trying to figure out who their dad was. I'm like, God damn it, your dad is fucking Magneto. Fuck you.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
So like, fucking Inhuman.
Your dad has been Magneto for fucking 30 years of my goddamn life, so he's fucking Magneto. Fuck you,
Taking a stand on that.
That's bullshit.
And Miracle Man #16. It's the final issue by the original writer, as we now have come to know him in the pages of the reprints.
AKA
The original writer.
And it was beautiful. I mean, it's just, each page is just filled with text. It's like reading a novel almost. It wraps everything up like this is the end of the storyline. Of course, they went ahead and continued it later. You handpicked Neil Gaiman, And they're actually, next month, they're starting a new numbering, number 1. They're going to start to run his stories, which only the first few issues saw print. And so hopefully they'll get an artist on that and keep going, because for number 1, it was Mark Buckingham, like from Fables. He's done a lot of other really good comics. So hopefully they keep it going, because it's been phenomenal. I haven't read any of the Neil Gaiman stuff yet, so I'm looking forward to that. On to the Grant Morrison books. We got Nameless number 2, which is bonkers insane. Just the way I like it. It's just...
if you're wanting Grant Morrison and you're not expecting bonkers insane, you're barking up the wrong tree.
It's the Nameless character, the lead, which everybody calls Nameless. He's going on this outer space expedition with all these scientists, and he's like an occult expert, which is pretty much the whole concept of it. And it's, I don't know, it's really getting some legs under it. I'm looking forward to where it goes. There's a lot of stuff you really don't know what's going on yet, but it's exciting to read. And my pick of the week, finally, is the Multiverse Mastermen. This will be the 7th issue in the series.
Is that the Jim Lee one?
It's the Jim Lee one, yeah. And it was pretty phenomenal. And I got to show you the opening splash page, which I was not expecting. I laughed my ass off when I saw it. It is Hitler taking a painful shit in his private bathroom. People have referred to him as Shitler. His big scene is him getting pissed off at this American Superman comic book that's kind of reminiscent of the Captain America, him getting punched in the face.
I have a giant poster of Frank Zappa taking a shit in my bathroom, but I would like to replace that with Shitler.
With Shitler, it's great. It's really satisfying, because the scene goes on, and one of his commanding lead officers is trying to tell him that they found the super baby, basically, and he's just straining to get this shit out. Beads of sweat just popping off of his face. It's pretty hilarious. I didn't see them going quite that direction. But
Can't wait till these start coming out hardcovers.
yeah, it's just been great. The story here is that Superman from this universe has basically built a sort of utopia off of Hitler's dirty work, and he's kind of having some bad feelings about that for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's, 5-star book every time this comes out. Get that multiverse.
I've really enjoyed it. Like, it's, you never know what to expect with it. It all has this weird tie-in. It's Morrison's crazy explanation of how all the universes are connected, and it's just fucking, like, if you're not somewhat intelligent, you're not even going to be able to make it through the book. So, for our bottom tier readers who are reading at a 5th grade level, you probably don't want to try to attempt multiversity. But for the majority of comic fans who are very sophisticated and intellectual, you will enjoy it. But don't overthink it. Just go on the ride, have fun, and accept all of the craziness, because that's part of the journey.
Oh, yeah. And each issue he's written so that it could be continued onto its own series, but you can just see it in its one-shot style, and it works both ways. DC probably won't pick most of these books up, but I kind of hope they do, because all of them have been top-tier concepts, and just all the artwork's been phenomenal. He really knows how to pick them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I fucking have loved Multiversity. That was your pick of the week?
Yes.
All right. Well, before I get on to my pulls, I just got to say, I finally read the first volume of Preacher, thanks to our pal, the great Muji here,
Nice.
who tracked that motherfucker down. And I got to say, it's one of the best fucking books I ever read, ever. I don't know how they're going to translate this to a show on AMC.
It's going to be hard.
Because, the absence of the word fuck is going to really break my heart, because it's so important in so many of the great lines.
Yeah.
Garth Ennis has always been one of my favorites. This is a book that's been on my to-read list for years. I've just never come across it. Muji tracked it down. First volume, and there's apparently 5 to go. But the first volume ends so perfectly that if it all ended right there, then it would be the perfect ending.
It's really strong out of the gate.
But, fucking, and it was a wordy book. Garth Ennis is usually not that wordy, you know, if you read his Punisher shit, it's the famous Punisher Welcome Back Frank, or later Punisher Max team of Ennis and Steve Dillon.
All pretty quick reads. It's just has a really fluid style. But
that's the reason I had to put that one down a couple of times. It was when I was in the mood, I was like, I just want to fucking flip through the art. And I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, there's so much more.
Awesome.
Like, have you seen some of the test footage of they've already got pictures of the fucking the kid that shot himself in the face with a shotgun and failed the Judas Priest tribute that they put in there.
Our space.
And our space, yes. If I will be our space, so it will be.
Such a tragically hilarious character.
Yeah. I can only imagine he's going to come back as a villain or something.
I remember back in the day when those comics were having their run, Wizard Magazine in their April Fool's edition, they had a cartoon Arseface on each page, like saying a little funny line. It was like, it looked like a little kid with a beanie hat, but he had Arseface's face, and it would have like his words like, and they translate what he was saying. Oh god.
And like the most blasphemous book I've ever read.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, it tickled me in so many ways.
It's gonna make some people mad, probably.
Oh, the show's gonna make people mad. Like, I like all of the shit was like how God just abandoned heaven and said, "Fuck this," and left, and this fucking a demon and an angel fucked and created this entity that possessed the Reverend Custer. And like I don't see how this is gonna happen on AMC, but I'm for it. Like, let's bring it on, you know, bring it the fuck on. So anyway, sorry to get off on a tangent there, but I was looking for a forum to express my love for Preacher. I almost went on social media. I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna save it for the show because I gotta really talk about how much that book hit me. You know, like a ton of bricks. It was so great.
It's not as good. It's nearly as good. And that's the next one out.
Yes. Muji also got the first giant hardcover of Jason Aaron's Scalps, was another book that's been dying to read.
You've been talking about comics.
So excited. So on to my pulls anyway. Had a lot of good ones. This is one of my best pull weeks in a while. Of course, Aquaman's consistently strong. It was a bit of a filler issue, more of meeting Aquamom and how she doesn't believe he's actually her son and tries to kill him. So that's always fun. Flash 39, I know Jay's going to talk a little bit more about this, and I'll interject there, but it was fantastic. Batman Eternal, that's a highlight. 3 issues of that in this go-around. 46 and 47, beautiful covers by Jai Lee. Just the classic artwork that you know to love with him. You got
he's one of the best cover artists.
With Hush kicking Alfred off a mountain, and then you have another one with Ra's al Ghul just standing there looking bad as fuck.
Did you plan on talking about this new Batman in depth?
I was not.
Because you thought I would?
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, that's what I didn't even bring it.
We'll bring it in after you get done, too, because that is by far not the worst thing that happened to Alfred in comics this month.
Oh my god.
And we had Sons of Anarchy, which was good. It was a happy story. Not a happy story. It was about the character Happy. And his murderous tendencies. So it was far from happy. But it was about the character Happy. If you're familiar with the show, you get it. Smallville continuity. The last arc of Smallville continues to be awesome, and they continue to bring every character that ever existed in Smallville and beyond into the fight. We had Uncanny X-Men number 31. It's winding down. Last time, Uncanny was my pick of the week, and I talked about how they were bringing Charles Xavier from the past to the present to try to right the wrongs. No idea what he was going to fucking do. He forces the parents of the destructive mutant, Matthew Malloy, who's killing everything. He goes back in time and makes it so they never fucking meet. Yep. And he erases the motherfucker from existence before he happens.
Like Back to the Future.
And changes the whole, changes the whole fucking will shit. Like, he goes back and gives everything to Cyclops. Yeah. And it freaks everybody the fuck out.
Well, then what Cyclops does, he's like, away.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
So clearly Bendis is wrapping up his run here, and I just had to comment on that, because that, clearly...
So many big Marvel books, like, who's going to take over? Like, because Bendis has had this long, crazy run. Daredevil, Mark Waid's had this great acclaimed run, and, like, they really don't fuck around with Daredevil. I mean, it was Bendis, Brubaker, Wade, so they're going to put a big dog on it. Same with X-Men. They're not going to hand off Uncanny to just anybody.
No,
a lot of big books coming up, and I wonder who the fuck's going to get to write them.
What happens to all new X-Men as well? Maybe he'll finally just wrap it up. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting.
Well, he's off all X books starting in a couple of months. Like, he's done with both of those. So whenever he wraps them up, so we'll see.
Interesting to see what he's going to go on to. Have they announced that yet?
Well, I mean, he's still going to be writing Guardians, apparently. He's got his own...
There's another Guardians mini-series coming.
Yeah. He's still writing he's still writing about Miles Morales. I'm going to guess he's going to write about
Yeah.
him in just the regular 616 after
Yeah,
everything's done.
it's his boy.
Probably, yeah.
And then, of course, he's got, his 80 creator on books.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
He's gonna stay busy.
Keep going.
So second runner up this week, and it was tough. It probably would have taken the lead if my number one didn't come out, but it did. But Southern Bastards number 7. You really start to get a whole picture of Coach Boss in these issues, and like that maybe he's not quite the villain that you thought he was, but
Or if he is, how the fuck did he get turned? Because he once wasn't a son of a bitch.
yeah, and it's like I think it may be more commentary on like the environment of growing up in a poor fucking shitbird family and like what that does to you. It was some strong shit again from Southern Bastards as they continue, but they really took the commentary on this one to a new level, and I'm fucking in full sail on it. Check that shit out if you get a chance. The first trade's out. The second trade will be coming soon.
Yeah,
So,
of course, the first trade, the Image Nice price, $9.99, or the Smart, cheap graphic novels for $5.99.
yeah, at that price, it's a steal. You're basically stealing the greatness and doing it legally by paying a small fees. I mean, it's so good. Especially if you're from the South. I mean, you don't have to be from the South to love the book, but if you understand like kind of the things you both love and hate about being from the South, they capture that perfectly. And
Preaching to the choir.
I love that, not that new people live near me, but I hate the people that do.
That says it all.
it just described it all. But the pick of the week for me, it's actually a two-pronged pick of the week because I got them both at the same time, so I'm just going to count it as one issue. Marvel Comics back on top here, and they've had a fleeting spot in my number one. Uncanny X-Men was the only thing in recent times that they even popped into number one, but they're back. Darth Vader, number 1 and 2 by Kieran Gillen. I think Andy LaRocca is his name.
Salvador
LaRocca. No, I'm thinking of Andy LaRocca from the Merciful Fate band. But
That's a callback right there.
Dude, if you've read the Jason Aaron Star Wars, then it's even better. But without it, it's all about Vader and his manipulations and dealings with Jabba the Hutt and like the Emperor doubting him. Basically, it's coming off of A New Hope where he's failed in the fucking, the Death Star got blown up, and basically the Emperor is blaming him, and he's like, okay, motherfucker, yeah, sure. And of course, he's playing the politics. He's like, it's all cool, I'll take care of it, I'm sorry. And then he's like, on his own, goes to fucking Tatooine to meet with Jabba to make a fucking underhanded deal because he don't fucking trust the Emperor. And the Emperor's got this new guy that's coming in, and Vader's like, yeah, I'm going to kill that motherfucker. So it's fucking amazing. So there you go. The Marvel relaunch of Star Wars, a lot of people were skeptical because Dark Horse had done a great job, honestly, over the last few years. I mean, they had the Brian Wood Star Wars book, which was one of the most revered Star Wars books in years, and I still haven't read anything but the Free Comic Day issue of that.
Yeah.
And I really want to go back and read it too because he had a great voice. But this, and I can only imagine the Princess Leia miniseries is going to be just as good.
They do a great job. They put A-list people on it. Probably I would have never bet on this, but they showed the preview for I guess number 6 of Star Wars. Cassidy's still in the arc.
Wow.
What the fuck? He's going to get 6 of them at least.
Maybe
They must be paying a high premium on those Star Wars issues.
He's probably like, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go. This is what I've been saving it for.
After all these years, like fucking somebody that worked at Marvel finally like bought him a Keurig, and he's like, oh, here we go, coffee. That's all I really needed to be able to make books all the time. That's the missing ingredient.
But that's all I got. Like I say, you can't go wrong with the fucking the fucking what the fuck? Just that.
You can't go wrong with the fucking. You can. You definitely can.
You said.
I'm gonna jump in because I thought almost everybody read this.
Oh, it was Darth Vader. I gave it to Muji. That's why I couldn't find it. Sorry. Continue your jumping.
We're going to jump in. We're back to number 39 because I left it offline. It could easily have been pick of the week, but I thought somebody else would do it. But everybody thought I would.
We always do that for you.
Yeah, so we're bringing it back. But Batman 39, I'm in game. The next to last chapter sadly, that's the worst part about Convergence is that there's 2 months with no fucking Batman, no Snyder Capullo Batman.
Yeah.
Gives them time to get called up and fucking, get going on the next story. But it's going to suck that next month is the last issue for a while.
Yeah.
But they're making the most of it because this was amazing. Once again, said her last issue it left off with Batman going to the court for help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't really help him because they're bad guys. And then the Talon's like, finally, get my chance. And, he has to kick his ass again.
What do you think about Batman doing the old, okay, you're not going to help me, go fuck yourself?
He got really, really mad. Yeah, and then he fucking.
That was a great scene.
They were, they were building this big, humongous, it was basically, they were building this big, fucking, miniature of Gotham behind them. They're like, all the great cities, blah, 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 blah.
We built it upside down.
They give their speech, and then, we built it upside down for symbolism. Yeah, then Batman throws a batarang and, breaks it. And stuff. That's the pattern. I'll show you the page right now. It's great. They're like, they don't care about the city. He says, so let the clown burn it and move on. And so Batman throws the batarang, comes down, and then it just shows all the Court of Owls with the ... Bubble's like, oh, man. He just broke our sculpture.
It took forever.
Yeah. And then the real star of the issue is the fucking Joker is badass in this. He's got a cool little backpack, school Joker.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
But
the whole swimming outfit.
Yeah, him and Alfred face off here. Alfred takes off a chunk of his ear, which is awesome, but then he treats Alfred, big spoiler here, but he treats Alfred like he's a fucking member of the Skywalker family. He cuts his goddamn hand off.
It was nuts.
Yes. So that was really awesome. And then what the Joker does with the stuff, and I won't show you anything else, you can read the rest, is he steals everything from the Batcave and has a Batman 89-esque Joker parade. But it's with all the stuff from the Batcave. He's got the dinosaur, the giant card, everything, out on display for everybody. Yeah, so it's really awesome. And then Batman has to turn for help for some people you wouldn't expect once again. And it's a really great issue. And there's only one left, and I'm super pumped. I believe it's going to be an oversized issue. It's issue number 40. And also got confirmation, too, the other day. At least we're going to have more Snyder and Capullo for a minute, because Capullo said on Twitter that him and Snyder are contracted through issue 55, and then they don't know for sure if they're going to go past that. So that's at least another over a year of awesome Batman. So that's
reassuring.
Well, the Convergence gives everybody a break, and actually, I added a Bat book for the Convergence. I'm getting my regular Aquaman and Flash, but I did also add
Batman.
A detective, man. Lynn Wein is writing detective. I had to get
Convergence
it.
book
Yes,
detective. Okay,
yes.
yeah.
It's just 2 issues, but
I got that. I got all my regulars from Convergence that they actually had. So I got Action Detective.
I figured you'd be getting it too, but I was like, just in case he doesn't, it's Lynn Wein. So I want to check it out.
I got the Justice League. So I think those are the only ones I got.
I just went Superman because the whole Lois, they're having a baby. I don't know.
Yeah, should be. I'm kind of interested in some of these Convergence books.
I thought about getting Nightwing and Oracle because that looked kind of cool.
Because I can remember before the reset enough to be able to follow along and enjoy it, I think.
Coming out of the reset, though, there's a bunch of cool. I've seriously thought about getting the Damien Son of Batman book.
That one, Justice League of America.
And then Tomasi said he's not done writing Batman, so maybe they said there's more books they haven't announced yet because he was writing Batman and Robin. Yeah. But now they've taken the guy that did the art on there the whole time. Patrick Gleason. He's going to write and draw the Damien Son of Batman book.
Yeah, it looks great.
Which seems to be DC's one of their new things to get good artists. We'll let you write the book as well. So I guess that they could probably double pay them. That's probably a smart way to keep the really good people. Yeah. But Tomasi said he's going to be writing some other sort of Batman as well. So maybe there's going to still be a Batman and Robin.
Awesome. Well, I guess on to Jay for the last stop on the pull train here tonight.
See what I got here. We'll go ahead. I had Batman on there, obviously. I can't get enough of that Greg Capullo Batman. So I'll always talk about it.
It's so fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then
they arguably at this point have one of the best 2 or 3 runs ever. Because the other famous Batman people really don't have runs. Obviously what Frank Miller did in 7 or 8 issues of Batman is great. Yeah. And then, and everything that Loeb ever did was a mini series. For just the Batman proper, this might be the best run of books ever.
I've heard criticism that Snyder.
I wish they would let Scott Steiner write Batman. Batman would just be walking up to people being like, "You suck. You see me and my brother? Me and my brother are going to beat you up." Is it you don't have a brother Batman?
You see that? That's a muscle. You ain't got one because you're a fat ass.
Yeah, you see that? That's a Batcopter. You ain't got one because you're poor. It'll be awesome. I want Scott Steiner to write Batman.
One of the criticisms of Snyder's run is that he doesn't know how to end a story, and I just totally fucking disagree with that. I don't know about you guys.
I can't see that at all.
No, I think it's great. He ends them in a great way. He ends them in a way that's like, oh yeah, I have another. That's the thing about comics, and the thing that he also, what works for people like Loeb or Frank Miller, who even though it was in the Batman proper, it was almost like at the time, year one was almost like an Elseworld tale, even though it became part of the proper or Killing Joke, is that he's got another issue to write next month, so we can't just end it. Mm-hmm. Well, whatever happens at the end of one of these stories is going to be continued on in 4 weeks, so, he can't have the classic. You write like a mini series. Well, he could just kill the Joker at the end, and then you can always wonder forever, like, I wonder if things were like that. It'd be okay. He can't. So I think he's ended all the stories great.
I think so too.
Well, one of the things about post convergence, which I've read up on, is that DC's focusing more on the story, so they're not focusing on continuity anymore. So that stories like that can happen. You can do whatever you want as long as it's a good story. They're going to let it fly. So I don't know what that means. Some books probably will have some kind of continuity together, but
I think that's it. I think people have overblown a little bit the lack. I think there's still going to be a main continuity because they're also going to do another Batman Eternal, a season 2 of that, in a few weeks after Convergence ends. So
I think your Justice League characters are probably all going to exist within the same.
I think there's going to be continuity. I just don't think it's going to be as like. It's not going to be strict, like
freedom.
Yeah, like there could be things like if you have like a regular like story with, let's say, the Flash, it doesn't have to go with what's happening in the Justice League, or especially some of the smaller characters like Black Canary, stuff like that. Like they can kind of be doing their own thing. Batgirl, you don't have to. Batgirl's kind of got her own little thing in different style now. She doesn't have to pop up in whatever the big Batman story is going on at the time. So I think that's. I mean, essentially, it just sounds like they're going to go back to like just pre-52 way where things didn't always match up, month to month.
Yeah, that's probably the smart move overall.
Well, and then, having that freedom for the writers, I think, will be kind of nice. Because sometimes you can get strangled with the.
That's probably the way they can attract more of like the big name writers to come do stuff if they can do that.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Let's see. The next one, Todd mentioned it, was Amazing Spider-Man, number 15. It was good. That was my number 4. Uncanny X-Men was great. Batman Eternal, number 48, you've got to check it out. Good stuff. I think I always talk about like the same books. I tried to change it up a little bit. My pick of the week was Flash, number 39.
Nice.
If you haven't been keeping up with it, I'm new to the Flashverse, I guess. I've just kind of started here lately. But I've been very impressed with it. I love the pencils on it. Brett Booth does that. And the color. Normally I don't talk about the color in books and look at it, but I really like the colors in it too. Let's see. I vaguely remember it. The villain is Overlord right now. That's the future Flash is now in the past trying to defeat Overlord. But he's not just trying to defeat him; he's trying to kill him, which is not typical, Flash style.
Yeah. And Patty and Iris are starting to catch on to this new Flash that he's not. What the fuck is up?
Yeah. It's like, something's a little miss here. There's a new costume, but it's not quite right. And then, of course, you have the current Flash who's in the Speed Force Savage Land, and there's a pretty kind of a good cliffhanger there at the end for that. I'm not going to spoil it, but you kind of wonder the whole time what's going on with the other character that other main character that he meets there, and then at the end you go, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
So I thought it was, normally I could kind of see what's happening toward the end of stuff, but I thought it was a really good book. I thought it's been great. It's like an 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect book, but I've been really happy with it, so I went with it for the pick this week.
And it was good. Like we've talked about from the beginning, they've done a really good job for the most part of like their main Justice League characters always having a good writer and artist on those books. And Flash, of course, Buccioletto Manifold was great the whole time, and then you get kind of scared, but it's stayed good.
Yeah, Venditti has really shined on the Flash. I didn't enjoy his stuff on Green Lantern as much, which is odd because Exo Manowar was badass, and you think Green Lantern would be right up his alley. I know it was bad, think he was probably handcuffed by events and a lot of bullshit.
There's a
having
bit
to
like
write
every third issue.
multiple books and all this other shit. But man, on Flash, he's kept that story going right along that Man of Paul and Bicholetto started. So it feels like one consistent run of a comic. It doesn't feel like, because so many times when a new creative team comes in a run in the middle of it, like Superman, I mean, they've had so many starts on that book.
They can't quite figure it out.
On Flash, it's so refreshing to see a book that just maintains its vibe and its look and its feel, and there's not really much different about Venditti's run and his writing versus the prior successful run. The art is very different, but the writing is
I
not.
heard Superman and Wonder Woman was the same, which I thought about grabbing that book again because I dropped it just because it's Charles Soule's leaving without really. But Tomasi's been writing it, and then Doug Mankey's been doing the art, so I heard it's really awesome. So
The Mankey.
That was a really good book. That was like the epic, like what you hope the movies would be like. Like just this great epic superhero story. It could have easily been a Justice League story, but it was more focused on Superman and Wonder Woman and their relationship and the various trials that they faced. But I really, really dug that book.
Yeah.
Well, hell, I guess that wraps it up for tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah. Got good pulls. Got Star Wars #3 next week.
Yes.
Crazy. My most looked forward to book is Star Wars. Didn't think that was going to be the case, but really excited for issue #3.
Yeah, I'm giving a quick check here to see what I got next week. I've got a Batman Eternal that Jay was talking about there. It was my only pull this week, so I didn't really have any desire to go in there for just one book, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting that. I'm trying to see what else I got.
We've got all new X-Men, which I guess it's the wrap up to the Black Vortex shitfest. They had a new artist come in that was okay this last week, but
that's the thing Marvel does, man, is when they get towards the end of a run, like lots of times they just throw whoever on the art that they can because they're like, we're going to use the good people to launch these new #1 series, so we'll bring in some
that's pretty much what's going
has
on.
3 issues of it.
And Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen.
Nice.
The Spider-Gwens are coming out quick.
They really are. I don't know if I can handle that with my bank account. I'll stay on for the first story arc, though. At least.
Let's see, I've got Batman Eternal #49 as they're starting to get towards the end of the thing there. The very last issue of Smallville coming out next week. That's going to be sad to see that one go. Hopefully it comes back, but it probably won't at this point. I think at this point any interest in Smallville is probably, they probably wrap up everything just fine in that last issue.
Speaking of something good that has been consistent on Rise, when Action Comics comes out next week again. It's been really great ever since the new team's been on the book. It's been really, really awesome. Greg Pak has been awesome, and then Aaron Cooter's done most of the art, and that's been really awesome.
Oh, and I got Walking Dead as well, so it was a decent week next week. That's all I got.
Good news.
And I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
We got together a lot sooner, so I didn't have a stack that was like a mile.
Yeah, we didn't have the month in between, so it was not like, we're clocking in just under an hour here tonight as opposed to over an hour as we have done on most.
Oh, yeah.
Still was too late to catch the first run of Walking Dead tonight, but that's okay. We'll catch it at 11 by the time I eat dinner. It'll almost be time, so.
Yeah. If you're tired of hearing about Dan's eating habits, just go get some